Kevin made a particular investment in a North Dakota play, right? Isn't that the?
That's right. Yeah, it was the guys from PRX Fitness who are here in Fargo that had come into Shark Tank with a solution for space management. They had a foldable gym equipment. I think they started with one product. The hero product was the bench press that you could kind of pick up and lay flat against the wall. They had, I think, less than $1 million in lifetime sales when they went into the tank. Kevin invested in that company, and then, kind of a confluence of factors, COVID, everybody staying at home, really kind of was an accelerant
for
it
was
an
innovative home gym for space and convenience.
Everybody in those times, converted their garages into gyms. They weren't leaving their homes. Yep. The company went to over $50 million a year in sales. They've cooled off a little bit, but they're still going strong. I think, they're doing 35 to 40 million in sales, and had enough cash flow. And given the supply chain constraints that they were facing, they decided to build a manufacturing facility here in Fargo, and so it created a lot of impact. And I think ultimately, Kevin came back to North Dakota to spend time with the company, and the studio decided to film a follow-up in the tank. So they sent him out here to do some ice fishing and create some really great B-roll, and it was a really fun experience for him. He got to know the people, and so really that was the genesis of North Dakota for O'Leary Ventures, and so when I said to him, let's institutionalize the brand, he had also been approached by some folks in the state who said, would you ever consider doing more in the state? We really liked the exposure that PRX brought. We like your investment acumen, and there's a lot of opportunity here. So he kind of turned to me, and he had a front row seat to watching my brother and I scale our real estate investment management business. And he said, could we do this? And I said, well, I don't know. Let me go out there and check it out.
No, had you been to North Dakota before at
no,
that point? Oh, that's
I had
cool.
never been to North Dakota. I just knew about the hockey team at UND. In college, I used to watch them clobber our team, and I think the North Dakota players, I saw them as larger than life. I remember distinctly, they look about a foot taller than all of our players. That was the thing. They grow them big out there.
Scandahoovians.
That was it. And so I came and spent some time and met the folks at Commerce. And at the time...
Was this in winter?
No, this was in the summer of 2022.
Okay.
So we started a dialogue in the summer of 2022. I came out, toured a little bit, started learning about the economy. Almost immediately, I was blown away by the diverse economic underpinnings of North Dakota. I think the impression that everybody has is it's oil and gas. And they understand that there's farmland here too, but they don't understand the magnitude of it. Right. And so, you consider the state is 44 million acres and 39 million of it is ag. And then you quickly come to find out that they're feeding the country and the world with some of their, foodstuffs, and that, oil and gas and the unique geology here kind of lends itself to innovation and the adoption of technology for ag and for sustainability. Everybody thinks of oil and gas states as dirty contributors to the environment because of fossil fuels. But what they don't realize is these guys are also innovating in carbon capture and rare earth mineral extraction and things that are going to be very, very vital to our success in the future and adoption of clean and sustainable methods of generating power, whether it be wind or solar.
In a huge Microsoft campus, it's really the center of electronics hardware for precision agriculture. We have a growing sort of pharma presence with plasmid manufacturing. There's definitely a lot going on. So this was sort of mid to post COVID, and you're talking to Commerce, and what came from those conversations?
Well, Commerce had been granted money by the Department of Treasury under what was called the State Small Business Credit Initiative. And small business is very much on brand for Kevin and
For
what he
sure.
had been doing for, 15 seasons of Shark Tank at the time. Now we're on the 17th season, 16th or 17th season.
Wow,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a true
They're
phenomenon.
almost as big as The Simpsons and South Park at this point.
I don't want to digress too much, but it's a true phenomenon. It's the number one watch show, parent and child, in prime time on the weekend.
Okay.
Which is incredible.
Yeah.
Because
What
parents,
other parent and child shows? I mean, that's really interesting.
yeah, on the night an episode will air, 2 million people will see it. It immediately goes into syndication on CNBC and Hulu. And over the course of a year, if you're a company that goes on Shark Tank, 10 million people will see that show.
Wow.
And in a lifetime, it's something like 100 million. So what that turned out to be was a tremendous customer acquisition engine for companies. There's a Shark Tank effect that if you go on the show, you get a 70 or 80% spike in sales immediately out of the tank. People start searching, and with direct-to-consumer and website and e-commerce,
And they see as seen on Shark Tank on the packaging at the store too.
right, and then each one of these sharks then have become networks of their own. Kevin has close to 10 million followers through social media, and so that can be leveraged to tell the story of companies that he invests in. It can be leveraged to tell the story of the state in which he's focusing his investments in. And we've tried to do this. We had a vision that what we could do is establish our venture capital and private equity platform, scale it authentically in the state by engaging directly and having boots on the ground and making sure we did a lot of listening and learning, form a business thesis, and effectively achieve favorable returns if we stayed committed and focused. And so it started with an idea, and then it led to us competing in an RFP for these Treasury dollars that had been granted to the state. A lot of restrictions on how that money is invested, which makes it difficult at the end of the day. People question, is it economic impact that you're doing? Is it, economic development, or are you return driven? Well, I'm here to tell you we are 100% return driven, but we know if we do a good job, it's going to have a tremendous economic development and impact effect throughout the state. And so, I started coming here and then getting on the road, and I've been everywhere from Belfield to Devil's Lake to Velva, Jamestown, Minot.
I won't
Grand
ask
Forks.
you what your favorite German sausage is yet. Maybe off the air, because that's a controversial topic in North Dakota. Given is it Strasburg or Eureka? Eureka, South Dakota, or Ashley or Wishick, or it's Wishick, by the way.
Okay, thank you.
It's the best sausage. Anyway, so now you go from never having been in North Dakota to coming here on a regular basis. You won the RFP.
We did. Yeah.
So you have how much to invest over what kind of time frame, and what's sort of what is the, roughly speaking, the constraints of that investment? What are your defined objectives, and then so what are you and others doing in the execution of that?
Okay. In many ways, so it's a 10-year fund. It's $45 million that we have no limitation on how quickly we have to put out the money, but as a practical matter, generally a private equity fund or a venture fund, you'll have a 3-year investment period, and then you'll spend the next 3 or 4 years trying to support and help those companies achieve success, and then you might have a harvest period from years 7 to 10.
Sure.
In this case, we're not focused on harvesting these assets because the fund requires us, as we have exits in the portfolio, to redeploy the capital. Thus far, we've been at it a little over a year. I think we closed the fund at the end of January 2023. We started investing. We've put out $15 million, and we've got about $15 million in the pipeline. So I think before the end of the third quarter, we will have invested $30 million, and by the end of Q1 2025, we'll be fully invested. And then Kevin will start to go to work on helping tell the story of these companies. You know, it depends where they are in their life cycle and genesis. You want to have a company that has commercial success, has a minimum viable product, commercial success, is generating revenues, and that's where we can leverage his TV platform as an accelerant by creating awareness and telling the founder story and the company story and what it's doing, and start to attract eyeballs to that business that we think will help ultimately in its growth and success.
So does each one of your investments need to have a North Dakota connection? I mean, what's the requirement there?
The requirement is 90% North Dakota, 10% non-North Dakota.
Okay.
As a practical matter, we're a North Dakota pure play. Everything we're looking at and everything we're considering, it's always with a lens towards impact in North Dakota.
What
as
constitutes
a result.
North Dakota, though? Obviously, if it's a North Dakota headquartered company and all the employees are in North Dakota, but if it's can it be North Dakota adjacent? I mean, what is?
It can be North Dakota adjacent. So we're bringing companies that might be headquartered somewhere else, but we're almost as a marketing arm for the state trying to explain to them all the resources that are here and why they should move their business either completely or in part. You mentioned the various sectors that the state, thrives in, but it's ag, it's energy, it's manufacturing, and that's almost ubiquitously applicable in a time when people are starting to look at the supply chain and think about, bringing their supply chain,
all the onshoring and friendshoring,
all that stuff. And I think North Dakota is perfectly suited to benefit from that trend. And engineers that might cost $150,000 or $200,000 a year in California or in Texas even. Are a lower cost alternative here because the cost of living is so attractive in North Dakota. So when companies are evaluating the business opportunity of hiring within the state or looking to the universities that are generating incredible talent, there's been this historic trend of very talented people leaving the state, and then they almost invariably end up coming back because they figure out pretty quickly or over the course of their life that the culture and the values that they really care about.
Often when they have children, the children start growing up.
Yeah,
and you start
this is a place you want to raise a family.
Absolutely.